The fourth person charged of Facebook Marketplace robbery 2 years ago was sentenced to 28 years in prison. 29-year-old Sontarius Williams pleaded guilty to armed robbery. Prosecutors argued Williams was the ringleader who organized the robbery that ultimately resulted in 18-year-old Marcus Whitehead's death. The victims thought they were meeting up to buy a car, but were ambushed in an alley. When the robbers pulled guns, one victim returned fire, killing Whitehead. In court, Williams apologized to the victims and accepted responsibility for his actions. The judge noted that Williams was the oldest in the group and should have known better.